Good morning, gang. Happy Wednesday morning, maybe. Be afraid. Be very afraid. Last night, was kind of interesting. Talked a little bit about this on a live stream yesterday. It was all over social media. Yesterday was the Minnesota primary for, amongst other things, Ilhan Omar's congressional seat. And a lot of people hoped that she would fall by the wayside like Jamal Bowman and Cori Bush, that we needed to get rid of one more communist, America-hating POS from the American political landscape. It didn't turn out that way. And this should concern you, but hopefully something you can do about. Unlucky 13, right? I mean, when I played baseball, I always wore number 13 because I wanted to be unlucky to the other team. But most people who have any sort of belief in that crap or whatever think 13 is an unlucky number, right? For those of us who are trying to save this country, yesterday, at least in Minnesota's District 5, 13 was a very unlucky number. I want you to look at this. This is the results of yesterday's election. If you see Ilhan Omar got 67,524 votes, 99% of the district's in. Don Samuels got 51,581 votes. Ilhan Omar won by about 13%. Now, I want you to look at something else on this chart. See in red where I added it up, the total amount of voters in District 5 yesterday, total amount of votes casted, was 119,672 votes. Okay. 119,672 people got out yesterday and did their civic duty. They said, okay, I either want the United States to go communist, I believe in supporting terrorism, and voted for Ilhan Omar, or they said no. Okay. As we all know, Minnesota is a solid blue state. It hasn't voted red in a couple of generations. So there is no real big doubt that a Democrat will win the seat. Basically, Ilhan Omar won her seat back last night. Her district, which basically covers a lot of the Minneapolis-St. Paul area there, is extremely blue. Okay. So you figure the mass majority of voters are Democrats. In other words, they'll vote for Kamala Harris. Yesterday was an open primary. Anybody could have voted. Republican, Independent, Green Party, whatever. You could have taken whatever ballot you wanted and vote for whomever. There was a big push all over the place yesterday for conservatives, Republicans, Independents to come out and vote for Don Samuels. But 119,672 people showed up. I want you to look at this. This is how many registered voters are in Minnesota's 5th district. Now, there's no specific, but this is what I could pull up on the internet. And if you look on the very bottom, you will see how many we have, okay? This is just sickening to see that this many people didn't bother to go vote. When you have 902,387 estimated registered voters and 13% showed up to the polls, we have a problem. Tim Walz, the vice presidential candidate, is on the ballot, right? We all know him, stolen valor, pedophile whole 9 yards, likes grooming kids, this sort of stuff. Okay, the high-quality Democrat candidate that we usually get is the governor of Minnesota. What do you think is going to happen? Apparently, Minnesotans don't really care about their country, at least the ones in Minneapolis, St. Paul, because 13% showed up to the polls yesterday. That's what, about one in every 7.5 people went to the polls to make a decision on what was going to happen, not only in their country, not only in their state, but in their neighborhood. They don't care. I was reading something this morning, James Carville, you know him, okay, the uber left Democrat strategist who rose his claim to fame during the Bill Clinton era, helping Clinton get elected, says the way he sees the election right now, it's anywhere from Trump plus 1.5 to Kamala Harris plus 5. How in the freaking world can Kamala Harris win, let alone by 5 points? Are Americans that stupid? I think we can all agree, yes. Okay. Only in a democracy will you see people vote against their own interests because they aren't smart enough to go figure out who agrees with what they believe. You know, I'm a support. You know, I support law enforcement, and you know, I'm a Christian. Okay. I'm going to go vote for Ilhan Omar because she has nothing in common with me. I'm not talking about gender. I'm not talking about skin color. I'm not talking about nationality. I'm talking about policy ideas. I don't care at all, personally, if we have a male president, a female president, a black president, a white president, a Latino president, an Asian president. I want somebody who's got good ideas. Okay? I don't want somebody who thinks, hey, supporting terrorism, some people did something on 9/11. But hey, you know what? She's a good American who's publicly come out and said when her political career is over that she's going to move back to Somalia, that her whole interest in being in American politics was to further the prospects of Somalia while working for the U.S. government. That's a problem to me. I want people who want to further the prospects of the United States while working in the United States government, which inevitably means you'll never see me vote for a Democrat because the other 194 countries in the world are more important to Democrats than the United States is. This should be a wake-up call to conservatives that somebody else isn't going to do it. I mean, I know that's the mentality in the United States right now, that it's always somebody else's fault. Somebody else will do it. I don't have to worry about it. I can sit on my couch and play video games. That's the mentality in this country. 13% of the registered voters showed up yesterday to vote. 60 some odd thousand people, that's it, in a major city showed up. I mean, think about that. Think about in your city. Let's use Knoxville, for example. Knoxville's not huge. Knoxville has about 300,000 people. Let's say that 35,000 people showed up to vote. Okay? Your livelihood is being decided what a teeny tiny minority decided to, because people couldn't get their fat ass off the couch yesterday and go vote. I don't care if you were a Democrat. I don't care if you were a Republican. I don't care if you're an independent. 13% is pathetic. Now, somebody may say, well, gee, it was only a primary or something. And I looked this up, in the last presidential elections, 2012, 2016, 2020, Minnesota's District 5 somehow, or the Minneapolis-St. Paul area, so it's got to be bigger, somehow turns out around 3 million people to vote. Okay? Everybody seems to care when there's somebody on the top of the ticket. They had 79, 80% turnout. But when the person that's going to represent your backyard is voting 13%, this is the point. And I hear this even on this channel sometime. Oh, I'm not going to vote. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it does. Okay? You lose by a few thousand votes, and 87% of the people didn't bother to show up. Do you want to make this easy for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz to steal the election? Do what Minnesota did. Don't show up. Because it doesn't matter, right? If it doesn't matter, and you can't take the time to vote, I'm sorry. You have absolutely zero credibility. You have no right whatsoever to complain about anything. If you couldn't take 15 minutes of your time to go vote, you have no right to bitch. None at all. You didn't care enough to make a decision. You don't get to sit there and have anybody listen to you. One of the most precious rights we have in this country is the right to select our own leaders, politicians, decision makers, whatever you want to call them. And so many people take that for granted. Tell me how many people voted for Kim Jong-un or Xi Jinping or Vladimir Putin. Hey, let's look what happened in Venezuela last week. The people voted, Maduro lost, and basically Maduro refuses to give up power. People's vote didn't mean anything. Vladimir Putin, he had Navalny killed, his political opposition. And when you go to a polling place in Russia, in Ukraine, in anywhere there, you think Zelensky actually won democratically? No. Okay. Here's your ballot. Putin. There is no other choice. Okay? He got 87% of the vote. Right, because 13% of the people turned in a blank ballot. That's it. You don't have another choice. Here we have choices, and people won't get off their lazy ass and go exercise the most important right that we have. Personally, and honestly, I don't care if people leave the channel for me saying this. If you are too freaking lazy to go out and vote, that's it. Not asking you to do anything else. You deserve everything that's coming to you. And when you're stuck behind the chain link fence with barbed wire on the top, don't expect me or anybody else that's trying to save this country to rescue you. I hope those people who are too damn lazy like what they got, because you know what? You did it to yourself. We need to make this one too big to rig. Everybody needs to show up. You need to drag people to the polls in November so we don't have the fall of American society, the demise of the United States. I kid you not. I'm not saying this hyperbola. If Kamala Harris wins, the United States is over. Your livelihood is done. And there ain't no, can we do it again? We'll change it in 4 years. No, this is the last chance. The Democrats are right when they say this could be the last election ever. They project everything else. That they're telling you their plan. If they win, there's never another election. We will be under lunatic, liberal, socialist, communist rule till the day we die. If that's what you want, move to Minnesota. You'll find a whole lot of people that agree with you. Pinball out.